Chelangat for that. Now, shock and controversy continues to swirl around the death of gospel musician Betty Bayo, with conflicting accounts from hospitals, friends and family, leaving the public demanding for answers on what really killed the singer. Tonight, TV47's Mudhoni Brenda breaks down the unfolding controversy, from the uncertainty surrounding Betty's diagnosis and treatment, the growing questions over her marital status, and the escalating battle for custody of her children and the control of her estate.
Days before famous songbird Betty Bayo died at the Kenyatta National Hospital on 10th November, the Chief Executive Officer, Universal Trends Medical and Diagnostic Center, Nderito Wangoi, received a phone call from a renowned Kikuyu musician Daniel Ngaroya, popularly known as Ngaroya.
He told me I needed a blood appeal. According
to Nderito Wangoi, Betty had at the time been admitted to a local hospital in Ruiru, but doctors had not yet established a clear diagnosis.
We were doing well, and even Betty was discharged because we didn't have a diagnosis.
On the day that she was discharged, her best friend, renowned gospel musician Shiro wa GP, and her mother would visit the ailing singer at home and spend half of the night with her, even watching a movie. Shiro claims that she stayed by Betty's bedside till she fell into a deep sleep, then informed the nanny that they were leaving but would return early the following morning. Sadly, that morning never came. Shiro recounted to mourners how Betty's desperate fight for her life started just minutes after she left.
Ni kama tu wakati nilala, Betty alianza bleeding, na kama alikuwa na bleed kwa kichwa ndani, akaamka, bleeding ikaanza kuanguka na yeye mpaka kwa stairs. Akafungua mlango, msichana wake akamuona, juu nilikuwa nimeambia msichana asilale.
The nanny and neighbors rushed Betty Bayo to AAR Hospital along Kiambu Road. According to her best friend Shiro wa GP, she received a phone call at around 5 a.m. from another artist, Jane Mudhoni, who was at the facility, and informed her that Betty was at the hospital waiting for funds to allow admission. Shiro then rushed to the hospital and found Betty admitted but incoherent. She says that 2 days in AAR and Betty's condition was deteriorating, and she immediately decided to inform her family. Just a few hours later, at around 10 a.m., Betty was hit by a stroke. Shiro says the doctors at AAR confirmed the diagnosis as acute myeloid leukemia, and it had festered in Betty's body for years. Nderito Wangoi explained that when Betty lost her speech entirely, they decided to transfer her to Kenyatta National Hospital to start her chemotherapy.
Unfortunately, at AAR we could not induce chemotherapy because there are procedures and structures to it.
At Kenyatta National Hospital, Betty was informed that she could not start her chemotherapy.
Immunity had gone too low. If we induce chemotherapy now, we will be actually worsening the situation.
This was the chronological order presented to the public when Betty died, but discrepancies started to arise almost immediately after she was laid to rest. Her friends alleged that the AAR hospital had withheld treatment because Betty did not have enough financial resources. This allegation implied that the hospital denied treatment from Betty, who had left her house gushing blood. This shocking claim sparked widespread criticism online, prompting the hospital to release a statement seeking to clarify the situation. In the statement, AAR Hospital clarified that the deceased was admitted at the facility for 2 days, during which she received emergency and critical care, and her diagnosis confirmed. After her initial stabilization, the family later opted to transfer her to another medical facility for further specialized care. The hospital did not explicitly state what Betty was ailing from, quoting patient confidentiality. After that clarification, online detectives were also quick to note the difference of the narrations between Derito Wangui, the CEO of Universal Trends Medical and Diagnostic Center, and Shiro, Betty's friend. According to the doctor, by the time Betty was being released from the hospital in Ruiru, they did not have a diagnosis. But according to Shiro, they had known Betty's diagnosis for 3 weeks, suggesting that she was discharged from the hospital in Ruiru with a clear diagnosis of leukemia.
Kama wiki mbili tukakuwa na yeye, lakini wakati sasa niliona hiyo ugonjwa imezidi. These different accounts of the same woman in the same hospital have raised serious questions. Were the diagnoses made at the hospital in Ruiru or at the AAR hospital along Kiambu Road? And why do the deceased best friend and the doctor offer conflicting explanations? Questions have also been raised about the whereabouts of Betty Bayo's husband on the night she died and what information he had at the time. During Shiro's account of that night, she makes no mention of Hiram Gitau being at the house. Instead, she credits the neighbors and the nanny for rushing Betty to hospital. Friends of the deceased, including Shiro Stewart, a close friend of Betty, explained that Hiram Gitau had flown back to the United States believing Betty had anemia to secure financial resources and only hurriedly returned to Kenya when she was admitted at AAR hospital. However, this account conflicts Shiro's claim that the doctor had already informed both her and Hiram Gitau that Betty had leukemia, suggesting that her husband may have boarded the flight back to the United States of America, fully aware of his wife's condition. Nimeambiwa na daktari ya kwamba Betty akona anemia na tuliambiwa tukiwa na bwana yake alikuwa hapo. Leukemia. According to friends, she had requested that they keep her condition private. Saturday night, and these questions grew louder after the singer's mother, Joyce Mbugua, did an online interview from Seattle, United States of America, with a TikTok personality. In it, she challenged accounts given by Betty's friend and husband.
My child died on date 10. I did not even have any prior information about her sickness. I only got to know she had leukemia a week before she died.
After Betty Bayo was pronounced dead, her mother said the family held a meeting in which they gave Betty's husband access to all her documents, including her identity card. However, following the burial, a scheduled meeting to discuss arrangements for the children to live with Betty's sister did not go as planned, as Betty's husband was absent.
I was so angry, I could not wait for nightfall. I called him and asked him why he had boycotted the meeting. Gitau said that whoever wants custody of the children should contest it in court.
Betty's mother has further hinted that she experienced marital difficulties.
She was being assaulted. She wrote a worrying text to me a week before she died, asking in whose hands I had left her.
She is now demanding for Betty's body to be exhumed and a post-mortem done so as to identify Betty's cause of death. She has further made it clear that her name should be written on Betty's estate, including the death certificate and burial permit, since Hiram Gitau was not officially married to her daughter. We reached out to Betty's husband, Hiram Gitau, but he said that he had no comment to make. Questions continue to arise about timelines, medical decisions, and the stories told in the aftermath. As friends and family continue to grieve, only a transparent account of Betty's last days would clear the contradictions. Muthoni Brenda for TV 47, Nairobi.